Alright folks, welcome back to West of Loathing. This is a little bit of a bonus episode. We're going to go up to the Daveyard and try to level up Alice a little bit here. So that's the plan. No major plot points here, but I'm just going to do a little bit of some fights and such. So here we find a cowboy along the way. And here we are back at the Daveyard. So last battle we got pretty nearly beat. It was a pretty challenging battle. Had to use some items and whatnot. So we're gonna fight these here. This one is a muscle-based skeleton, so we should fare a little bit better against this one than we did against the gunslinger, because our muscle stat will kind of balance out his muscle stat there. Looks like he's at 11. We're up at about 7, so that'll work. We should be able to at least deal a little bit of damage here. We'll see after we get healed up here now with our higher muscle stat how much damage he deals. Okay. Alright, so he deals 9 there, and Alice can heal for 10, so we should just be able to kind of do this round and about. And just kind of, it'll be a long, slow way, but we'll be able to finish the fight without having to use any additional items. So a couple other discussions about the combat stats here. As you notice again, at the beginning it mentioned that they were quick and the skeleton got the first hit on us. That's because our speed stat is so low. So probably the first thing we'll want to level up after we level up our Moxie to get it close to the other stats is speed stat, so that we can get the first hit in and hopefully also allow Doc Alice to use her shotgun on the first bit to kind of whittle everybody down a bit. For the 3 main stats that we have, we want to, especially for this early part of the game, keep them as close as possible, because the enemies will level based on the highest of that stat based on the type that they are. So there is definitely a minimum for most of the enemies, but they will continually level up, and if we're too far imbalanced, we'll end up taking a lot of damage and may not be able to go up well against them. So we'll try to keep them across the board, level them up fairly equally, maybe have slightly more muscle, because we can take on those enemies just fine. And there we go. So Alice is examining the remains there. Good for you, Alice. Alright. And we'll be able to sell those, probably. So yeah, Moxie, we want to try to get that up close to where the other ones are. Notice that most of the enemies around here that were Moxie based were at 10. So, and we want to level up the gumption here. That'll give us additional speed. And one of the tricks with that gumption thing is we probably are going to need to level up 2 or maybe even 3 times just to get a start on being able to beat them. But let's see. Yeah, see, our speed stat's still too low, so he still gets the first hit. So this is a bean slinger or cook skeleton. This one has high mysticality, so because he's 5 above us, he's going to be dealing extra damage to us. We increase the muscle just so that we can deal a little bit more damage to him, although he still has a pretty high muscle, actually higher than us on muscle stats, so we're not even dealing our full base damage to him at this point. Okay, so he's now dealing 11 damage, and we're healing 10. So we're losing one health per round, which probably will work. We'll be able to let it, get all the way down to 2 left. Then we'll use our heal midway through the fight, if need be, and then just continue to cheese it from then on. Notice he also is dealing spooky damage, later on in the game, we'll be able to get a consumable that will block a portion of the spooky damage. So that'll help with these type of enemies that don't deal physical damage. And we're just about there. So. Alright, one more round. I think we got it. Alright. Alice jotting down some more notes here. So hopefully we can get her to level up at least once. I believe there's a limit to how many of these. So normally in the crypt behind us, we have an infinite number of skeletons that you can level up on, but I think there's a limit when you have the hard hat. We'll find out. Let's level up our speed again here. Hopefully we can get the first hit in. Alright, so we're probably just going to take them on one at a time, honestly, because we're not having an easy time of it yet. But thankfully this is another muscle one. Oh man, 13 muscle to R7. So that's a 6-point differential. The maximum that will cause an effect is 5 points, I believe. So we're going to be dealing basically no damage to him. Now, thankfully he has a pretty low base damage, it looks like. So we're dealing 3 damage, he's dealing 11, so we're going to be losing again one health per round here. But we can make this work. So just to talk a little bit about the strategy for the hard mode, for some of the more difficult fights, we want to get our speed up early on, and we want to get dynamite. So dynamite will deal a flat 20 damage to enemies regardless of stats or levels or health or whatever. So anytime we're in a position where we accidentally encounter an enemy, maybe during a random encounter or maybe jumping into a fight too early, we can use some dynamite to kind of cheese our way out of the fight. Now that does cost, I believe, 9 meat a piece or 10 meat a piece, something like that for the dynamite. So we also want to make sure we have a pretty substantial meat pool and just buy as much dynamite as possible. There are a couple places in the game that should be able to get kind of roughly infinite dynamite from it. For example, Wandering Sally will always restock it. Every new encounter of it, Wandering Sally is a traveling merchant in the area. The other items, there's some silver bullets that we can use, although I generally like to keep those and use the silver to make needles, which you can do at the silversmith's house. But we'll see, depends on how many needles I've got and whatnot when we get to there. There's a whole bunch of other things. There's salts to restore action points if you need to, or you can also have med kits and whatnot to heal. All of the items that you use will take place outside, so they don't use action points, and you can use as many of them as necessary before you end your turn. Even for your skills, a few of them don't end your turn, like the muscle one or the beef up one doesn't. And the heal one doesn't as well. Alright, we're getting close here. He's got 16 left. We're going to need 6 more rounds to take him out. We're on 4 health, so we're definitely going to need to heal up here, probably. Okay, so now we're at 3 health. Yeah. So we can do this one more round safely. Thankfully there's nothing like critical hits in this game and whatnot to add additional level of randomness. Otherwise this would be even more challenging. We'd have to buffer margins to avoid dealing with crits. Alright, so we heal up there, let Doc heal us up all the way. And now we're basically back at the beginning of the game and continue whittling on down. Dave McCoy here. Yeah, these, in a normal playthrough, these are trivial to beat. But with the hard hat on, kind of have to watch it carefully. Not too bad as long as you got a good strategy going in. Okay. Alright, Alice studying more remains. So we'll keep doing this. We want to level her up at least once more. Alright, let's take on this skeleton. So we'll want to use the beef up skill again to get ready for that. Since he's a muscle based. And we'll just deal some damage and let Doc Alice deal some damage this first round and then see what happens. Since we got the jump on it, we can let Alice use her shotgun for the first round there. We're only dealing 1 to 2 damage here. He's doing 12, so it looks like we're losing 2 health per. It's a little bit of a concern. We might want to throw some dynamite here just to speed things up a little bit. Take him down a bit, give us a better chance. Alright, we should be able to do this here, so we're at 11 health. Don't want to get below 3 health here. So we got a few more rounds we can do. You enjoying this hard hat? Yes, I love seeing it beat to smithereens. Well, that's a comforting thing. Good to know. I've got someone on my side. Alice, we've got someone on our side. Alright, now we have to heal up because we're at 3 health. Yep. Alright. Let's just keep going the route we're going. This is Dave Williams. I think most of the tombstones outside are references to actual Daves. Not sure about Dave Williams. I think most of the ones in the crypt, since they're supposed to be infinite, are kind of a random mixture of Dave and then a bunch of random last names. I did look up the other ritual that I was mentioning last time that you can do with the stardust and whatnot. And supposedly that was a in-game reference to Dave Barry, the comedian. So you get a knife called the Barry knife, and I believe the description says something along the lines of, "That's not a knife, this is a knife," or something like that. So, yeah. Supposedly it's a reference to Dave Barry, the comedian. But we're not going to do that. It's a bit of a hassle to go through. Alright, well, Doc Alice can finish this one off. There we go. So now Alice has leveled up a little bit. Yeah. Alright. Well, I think that's enough for now. We've leveled up Alice at least once. Oh, good, actually. We're gonna need that for sure. So for us to learn new skills, we can read these advanced cow punching things. So of these different skills that we can get, ultimately by the end of the game, we're gonna get all of them. But the one that's the most important right now is Haymaker, because that will stun an enemy. So we can actually, if there's, for example, a really strong and a really weak enemy, we can stun the strong one, work on the weak one, and then come back. For now, that's it. See y'all later.